King of Dorksire. Your mom is Lurkivage. King of Dorksire. Lurking. King of Dorksire. Oof, BRB cats are needing attention again.
All good, Darkshire. All good. I appreciate your appearance. Let me know when you're back, by the way, Dorkshire. I got you and a couple of other hosts I need to talk to. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, everyone. Yorkshire, I see you over there. OG, as usual. Cool guy, cool guy. I love that guy. I love that guy's streams. I'm sad that I haven't seen him for 2 days. So we did, during that little like setup area, I did actually end up going and submitting my 2 from yesterday. One was correct, the other one was actually wrong. So, in order to prevent from happening what happened yesterday, where I ended up running out of executions for the day, other than obviously to, just pay for the membership, which I don't have the funds. And I know that there's going to be people that are like, sorry, I just got distracted because I saw delay 1 on OBS and I'm like, oh my God, like what did OBS drop now? But I know a lot of people will be like, well, it's only $10 a month. That's not really a whole lot, without actually knowing, kind of the situation that we're in. So, just a little brief littleness about me. It's not that $10 a month is too much. It's actually very relatively cheap. So, good job to Coddy, however you pronounce it, for actually releasing a very decent premium price compared to a lot of the things that I've seen on a lot of websites. That's why I laughed on the first day when it was like, hey, like rate your experience and give us some information on what we could do better. And I'm like, make unlimited submissions free. And I laughed about it because, it's kind of silly. I'm a father of 4 kids. I'm personally unemployed. It's a very complicated situation, just between not being able to afford childcare, even if I do work, my hourly rate is going to be going literally just to the kids being watched by somebody else. So yeah, having $10 extra a month. I mean, it's possible if I DoorDash each day, but most of the time when I'm DoorDashing, it's just for, extra funds, like if we need something extra for dinner, or if we need some extra gas, or we need extra cigarettes, like an extra drink or something. That's typically what my DoorDashing is for. But yeah, so I came up with a plan, and it did kind of help throughout yesterday's when I did run out, using a online compiler for JavaScript, because obviously I could just run that as many times as I want and not have to worry about being charged. I could use my own personal VS Code if I wanted to, but just why not just pull up a compiler online and do it there, right? It did end up running into one issue where I know that we had the for loop yesterday, where it wanted me to print the last 5 digits. We were console logging the wrong thing. So that's initially why we ended up getting the right result at the end, but when another challenge came in, it ended up failing. So our math technically was off challenge-wise. So, yeah, those are going to be some complications that we may end up running into, where, like, I'm going to go to the compiler and it's going to look, hunky-dory and everything's okay. But in all actuality, the tests still won't pass just because we thought a little bit too much out of the box for a singular answer. Oh well. So did we go over that we ranked up the other day? We did rank up the other day. And I also did start on another website too. tested that out with the learning. And they kind of have their own like weird way of doing it where you can only submit so many a day and you can't go past it, unlike Coddy. So that one might be kind of just, you know, in the back of a pocket type deal. You know, maybe we'll come out with a video in the future of like all of the free ones that I've tried and like put them in, not like a tier list per se, but like, you know, top 5 opinions of who has, you know, the best free, 100% free, and then, you know, we'll move into the, you know, pros and cons of it all. I had a very rough moment of trying to figure out if we wanted Final Fantasy Lo-Fi for today or if we just wanted to change it up. I know that we did the Final Fantasy Lo-Fi, but it seems like it really repeats itself. Like, I've heard Blooming in the Slums like 10 times already. Here, we'll do some chill wave. Chill wave and retro.
Quanticus.
Quanticus,
the only free
hello.
interactive tutorial I used for JS was Free Code
Camp,
and it happened to be free.
Yep, 100% free on Free Code Camp. You are absolutely correct. I think personally, and this is just personally, Quanticus, by the way, welcome back. And I didn't say thank you for the follow the other day. And yesterday I realized that, and I was actually kind of like beaming over like why I didn't hear the alert when you did. I felt so bad. Thank you so much for the follow the other day, and thank you so much for coming back. But my personal opinion on Free Code Camp is it's very bare. And that may just be exactly how they like it, right? You know, like they put in what's needed and nothing more. Coddy, so far, I really like the experience of, I don't want to say this in a way that's going to get taken out of context, and I have a feeling it's going to be. I like how Coddy awards you, for doing stuff like coming back each day, you know, completing certain weekly challenges that it gives you. And then also there's a leaderboard. I don't know how legit the leaderboard really is, but the leaderboard goes based off of how much experience you got during the week. And then if you're above a certain threshold, you actually like exceed into the next rank. So I think that's quite interesting personally, but I just feel like Free Code Camp is pretty bare. But again, that's my own personal opinion. Like I know plenty of people that have used Free Code Camp. I used Free Code Camp for a couple of months, but I always see myself getting about 50-60% through the JavaScript, and I just don't feel a connection to move on past that point. Like I don't feel like I got anything from it in a way. But we will be doing that 100%, by the way. That will be a thing. You know, we're going to be going through all of the ones that we can think of. All of the things that we can think of, we're going to be going through it until we're to a point where like I can load up a stream and go, you know, hello everybody, welcome to the stream. Today we're going to build a calculator, you know, like, or we're going to start like a 1.5 week long project of building a website that does this, you know, like we are going to continue this momentum until I get to a point where I can successfully say I'm no longer, and I know I'm always going to be learning, but I want to get to a point where I'm no longer just like, hey, I'm learning this with you, so I'm going to make a bunch of mistakes, to like, hey, I can walk, you know, somebody through how to do this step. You know, we started strong on Coddy, And, you know, basics, I feel like I was doing okay. It's when we're starting to move more towards this advanced stuff,
Quanticus.
is where I kind of
I'd
struggle.
say free Codicamp is more useful for someone already acquainted with programming and just want to learn the syntax of JS.
I'd say free code camp is more useful to someone who's already acquainted with programming and just want to learn the syntax of JS. I could definitely agree with that. And I've also had a few people, they actually recommended, instead of me continuing to try and learn JavaScript the way that I've been learning, is to move over to Python, try and learn Python. So I did take a couple of Python courses. You know, I haven't made it quite far in there yet. So, you know, I'm more comfortable with learning JavaScript in front of people than I am learning Python in front of people. It's a whole nother experience. So I want to make sure that I have Python down just a little bit more. So, you know, by the time that we make it through a JavaScript course or two, I feel like then we can kind of move into the learning of Python. But yeah, for people who just want to learn the syntax of JS, where they kind of have like I always say like the coding mind, the software engineering brain, where, you know, they can kind of put the two and two together instead of trying to create both. I can definitely see that. But I do want to do the Odin projects at one point. I know that they offer that there. They have everything there that you need to get it done. So I definitely want to do the Odin project at some point. And to be honest, I would like to have a few people wanting to do the Odin project, not just myself.
Quanticus. Whatever direction you go,
I'd recommend just picking a language and stick with it until you learn
the basics, because that will carry over to any other language.
Of course. Of course. Yep, that's why we're sticking with the JavaScript. We're going to keep sticking with it until we learn it. Obviously not master it, but we're going to stick with it until we have some form of something going. Bear with me just 1 second. Try not to vape too much in front of the microphone, but haven't had very many cigarettes today, so just trying my best to not, like, blow your eardrums out. Got to get those nerves out of the way.
Quanticus. Have you tried CYN? I hear that's all the rage these days.
Zin. That's the first time I've heard of that one. You got some information for it? I still have yet to set up Banana too. I want to get Banana set up. That way I can get the TTS to only be channeled on Twitch.
Quanticus. It's a tobacco.
Oh, it's a tobacco-free nicotine patch. Actually, unfortunately my teeth, they really grind into like pouches. I haven't tried that one specifically, but I've had plenty of friends that, you know, would like give me a pouch or something when I didn't have cigarettes, and, you know, they were quote unquote quitting. You know, like I'm quote unquote quitting right now. I put quote unquote because, you know, vaping, whatnot. But yeah, it's usually just like the start of the stream. You know, I'm kind of just trying to get my nerves down and whatnot. You never know what kind of people you're gonna get. Like, obviously the usuals that I get are super friendly and super nice, and, you know, we some of us talk. You know, either it's through other streams or it's through theirs, you know, stuff like that. And then there's, of course, you that came in, you know, as nice as can be, but, you know, sometimes you can get those people where, you know, you're not quite ready for them. So I always vape, try and get all the nerves out of the way, you know, and then from there we kind of move on. Yeah, I definitely couldn't see myself doing patches. Like every single time, it would always explode in my mouth or it would burn really bad. We're down to 6 milligrams of nicotine and only about 4 or 5 cigarettes a day. So that's definitely a lot better than the whole pack a day. Unless if I'm having a bad day. If my nerves are super high, I'll smoke more. All right, everyone. All right, we seem to be... I think this is where we left off. I think. Yeah, index of. I had to move my chat over. Makes it a little bit easier because my if I move the chat to the right hand side, my code usually doesn't make it, you know, kind of over there. So today we're on array methods. Now it's time to learn the power of arrays. We will cover the basics first. We will use the following array for example. Let array equal A, B, D, and C. The includes. The includes method is used to check whether the array contains a certain element. So console log array includes F. It's going to say false. Index. I think there's been studies that nicotine is beneficial for cognitive functions and plays a role in mitigating Alzheimer's and other
debilitating disorders, but who knows?
Huh. Well, I mean, issue with studies, right, is you can get lucky on studies per se. You know, like the people have been saying for years on and off, and it's been hard. But people have been saying on and off with studies that, you know, vaping is beneficial compared to cigarettes. And then there are people that are like, oh, you're putting like more unwanted chemicals in your body, this, that, and the other. It's hard. It's always hard. I sure hope that, you know, nicotine at least benefited me in some way, shape, or form other than, you know, keeping me from punching the crap out of somebody. Yeah, it can kind of go both ways. You know, you got the studies that say good, you got the studies that say bad. Unfortunately. Science has gotten rough. Index of. The index of method is used when we need to find the index of a specific element. If there are multiple of the same elements, it returns the first index. If the element we are searching for doesn't exist in the array, it will return -1. So const index equal array.index of D. So we're looking for D. So there is a D in there. Output is 2. Really? Let me go through that again. The index of method is used when we need to find the index of a specific element. Yeah. 0, 1, 2. Okay, all right, that makes more sense. All right, reverse. The reverse method is used to reverse an array. So console.log array.reverse. Didn't even know that one existed. Output CDBA. Fill is the method used to fill an array with a value. We can also specify a range to be filled instead of the whole array. Array.fill high. It just changes them all to high. And array.fill high, and we give it an argument for where to put it in the, where to, I guess in a way, replace, right? 1 and 3? That's interesting. Good. What are you doing? Sorry, yelling at the bird. She's over here going. I'm like, you good? Okay, so fill is a method used to fill an array with a value. We can also specify a range. Oh, okay. So a range to be filled instead of the whole array. So it's filling high between 1 and 3. Okay. The isArray method is a static method of the array class. You can learn more about classes in the next course. For now, this is how you check if a variable is an array. Const variable isArray equals array.isArray, and then we pass in the array. Console.log variable isArray, output is true. I do know about splice. The splice method is used to add or remove elements from an array within a range of indexes. So we do array.splice 2, 1, and we're putting in F and G. So this means add 2 elements starting from index 1, and the element should be F and G. Yeah, adding 2 elements, F and G, into 1. Removing elements, array.splice 1, 2. This means starting at index 1, remove 2 elements. See, array.splice, I may know it, but it still confuses the crap out of me. The sort method is used to sort an array. It sorts strings and numbers alphabetically. This means 25 would still be bigger than 100 because 2 is bigger than 1 alphabetically. Okay, the sort method is used to sort an array. Sort strings and numbers alphabetically. This means 25 would still be bigger than 100 because 2 is bigger than 1. Okay. Array.sort, console.log array, output ABCD. Those are the most of the methods that you will use. There are some others that are used more, like map, I know that one. For each, I know that one. Filter, I know that one. Don't know reduce, and I don't know sum. And more, but we will learn more about those after we cover functions. Those methods include functions. So you are given 2 arrays, array 1 and array 2. Your job is to find the union of these 2 arrays. For example, the union of 1, 2, 3 and 100, 2, 1, and 10 is 1, 2, 3, 110. Basically, your job is to create a new 3rd array and store every different number from both arrays. Make sure not to have duplicates, looping through arrays, and using .includes method might help you. Okay. So we are going to let array 3 equal array 1 plus array 2. And what I'm actually going to do here is, just like I said, we are going to have a separate we're going to use a separate compiler. So it's back on here. Okay. And then, so we're going to put this here. And we're going to let array 1 equal, let array 2 equal. Okay. So now we have those.
Quanticus. Does it only want you to use the methods introduced in this lesson?
Because there's a billion ways to accomplish the same task. Certainly. Yes. So only what we've learned specifically before this or during. So nothing exceeding the knowledge that you've learned so far. I don't know if this is going to count, but we're going to try it. All right. So far, what we did here is we created a third variable called array3. And what we're doing is we're adding array1 and array2 together. But when we did just array1 plus array2, there was actually a 61 that was formed because the last digit of array1 is 6 and the first digit of array2 is 1. So what we actually did there is we just passed in an extra string to create a comma in between array1 and array2. I think there was a lesson before this when we were learning strings that taught this, so it may be kind of allowed, but I'm not quite sure. So, again, you know, just trying to go through this in a step-by-step process. And technically, what we could do here is copy this. And paste it. And it's not going to like it because it's not commented.
Quanticus. Weird. ARR1 plus ARR2 should work as you'd expect.
Weird. Array1 plus array2 should work as you would expect. That's what I was originally thinking. Because they're two separate arrays. And then we're just storing it in one whole array. I'm not sure. Just like I said, it may pass, it may not. Not sure if I did that right. I don't like how these are blue. Could have used escapes, I feel like. Yeah. No, because it still doesn't even like that. It could just be this compiler. Okay. So you're given two arrays. Your job is to find the union of these two arrays. For example, union of one, blah, 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 blah. But basically, your job is to create a new third array, which we did. Store every different number from both arrays, which we did. Make sure to not have duplicates. Looping through arrays and using the include method. Okay. So we did that there. So for I equals 0. Oh, man. I equals 0. But if I is less. Sometimes I talk out loud. And then, like, I kind of start to type it out. Like, my brain knows what it is that it means. So I'll go if I is less than blah, 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 add 1 to I. And so I'll start typing out if, and it's like, no, stop there. Stop doing that. If I is less than, I'm going to say array3 dot length, then add 1 to I, and then we need to give it some code. So let I equal 0 if I is less than array 3's length, then run this code and add 1 to I. This is where the struggle bus is going to come back in. So we need to job is create a new third array and store every different number from both arrays to make sure that we do not have duplicates. So what can we use here to make sure that we don't have duplicates? And it needs to be automatic because the numbers are going to change. So check whether the array contains a certain element.
Hello. Can I have them for 1 hour? I have to go to bed early or it would be for longer.
Yeah, give me a second. Uno momento, por favore. You want all of them? Alright, the includes method is used to check whether the array contains a certain element. Index of method is used when we need to find the index of a specific element.
Craig Mead. Yes.
Yes, okay. Alright. Uno momento, por favore. I will be right back.
Craig Mead. Ty.
You are very, very welcome. I might have to adjust my noise gate though, because everybody's gonna start barking. Alright. Okay. Let's think about this.
Quanticus. Are you pondering what steps you need to take?
Certainly. I'm always pondering. So let's go ahead. We'll do index of is a method. Includes Can I put commas and it stay in the... I thought you made multi-line with a star and /. Is that not how you do it in JavaScript? Includes index of reverse fill is array. I don't think we need that one.
It's /* comment * for multi-line comments.
Yeah, that's... Oh, am I doing it in the wrong order? Thank you. Had it in the wrong order. Does that mean I can put a parentheses on it now? I can. I know this takes up a little bit more time, but at least with this, I don't have to keep like hopping back and forth. Splice. Sort. Okay. So looping through arrays and using, oh, it even gives me a little hint in using the includes method might help you. Includes. So the includes method is used to check whether the array contains a certain element. So the console log array dot includes f.
Quanticus.
Find it useful to try and define the overall approach in plain English before applying to the code. Yeah.
Just to get an initial attack plan.
That's why I take it one step at a time. Because I've always tried to have my brain calculated out into like more of like a overall plan, but my brain tends to get so hyper focused that it's like, okay, like one of us has to give. Like one of us has to, you know, be able to get this job done. Yeah, so that's why we went ahead and we already got array 3. So technically, if we wanted to, we could do something in terms of sort, right? Array 3. console log array 3, and that should sort it out on the second log. Oh, what did I do? Line 28 ran into an issue. What did I do wrong? */ right? Unexpected end of input. Or is it this? It might be this. Tell you what, we'll do that. And then we'll just take out this one.
Quanticus. Instead of starting with a formed ARR3, you can approach it as dynamically building ARR3.
Okay, instead of starting with a formed array 3, you can approach it as dynamically building array 3. So are you saying that to throw that into our loop? Sorry, I'm still learning a lot of the terminology here. Instead of starting with a formed array 3, you can approach it as dynamically building array 3. Got to turn the parent break off.
Quanticus.
So start with array
ARR1 and loop through ARR2.
Okay,
Examine
hold
the
up.
elements in ARR2 one at a time. If that element doesn't exist in ARR1, add it to ARR1.
Okay, so start with array 1 and loop through array 2. Examine the elements in array 2 one at a time. If that element doesn't exist in array 1, add it to array 1. Okay. So pretty much scrap that completely. Yeah. Loop through array 2. And I'm going to say, like, if array 2, correct me if I'm wrong here, index, no, if array 2, okay, hold on. So start with array 1 and loop through array 2. Examine the elements in array 2 one at a time. So that's throwing that into our for loop. Examine the elements in array 2 one at a time. If that element doesn't exist in array 1, add it to array 1. So if array 1 I don't feel like maybe array 1's index is not array 2. I could be way off here. Then I feel like I'm way off here. You can let me know if I'm way off.
Quanticus. Don't forget to reference your available array methods you listed out.
Don't forget to reference your available array methods you listed out. Okay. So if array1 array1 includes I'm not sure why we're really stuck on this index
This
thing.
would be a good time to use includes, instead of the equality check equals equals.
Includes array2 index. What is it called? Continue? Else. Okay.
Quanticus. And you can add a to the front of the expression to negate it. Checking for not.
Checking for not. Okay, can I do that? I was wondering about that. Okay, so if array1 does not include array2 index, then what's the word? Pop? Array2 dot pop to array1.
Quanticus. It's b arr1 dot includes.
Oh, really? Okay. So it's gonna be if really the exclamation mark is there. If I'm reading that correctly, I'm looking at white. Is there a way to change this? The night mode. Ah, so much better. Alright, now I can see my chat. Alright. It's gonna be exclamation mark arr1 dot includes array2 index. Is the index necessary? Like, am I at least right with doing the index part, or is that, like, just not even relevant?
Quanticus.
Yeah, looks good.
It looks
okay.
good.
So if array1 includes array2, we need to run this code, which is going to... How did splice work? Is splice the right thing to use here, or can we just pop? Can we pop? If array1 does not include array2's current index, then...
Quanticus.
Did they teach you push? Yes, I did forget push.
Quanticus.
Push is to add, pop is to remove.
Pop is to remove.
Gotcha. So array1 dot or 2 index. Push into array 1. Sorry, the questions are flowing. We're starting to get more into the strategic mind. I may have to look back on the push and stuff. Oh goodness. All right, hold on 1 second. I'm so sorry. All right, I am back. We don't need that per se. Unexpected token.
Quanticus. So the syntax is object.method, the arr1.push means you're executing the push on arr1. And push, stuff, means whatever is in the, is the argument for the method aka the thing you're pushing into the array.
Okay, so the syntax is object method. The array1.push means you're executing the push on array1. And push stuff means whatever is in the parentheses is the argument for the method, aka the thing you're pushing into the array. Okay, so it's probably gonna go something more like this, I imagine, then. Maybe not that way. So array 1 push. So we should be pushing array 2, that index that it's on, into array 1 if array 1 does not include what array 2's index is. Do I got like a curly bracket going haywire somewhere that I don't see?
Quanticus. Yeah, you're missing a.
Missing a parenthesis. Oh. Oh. Oh, that was rough. Okay.
Quanticus. The
Yeah,
if statement needs a,
one. Yep.
as well as the includes.
And then console. Let's see what we're looking at. An array 1. So there's no duplicates. I don't have another console log somewhere. Why do I have 2 logs? Why do I have 2 outputs? So we're pushing into array 1. So 25361 25361 7. Job is to find the union of these 2 arrays. For example, the union of 1, 2, 3, and 100, 2, 1, 10, 1, 2, 3, 110. Basically, your job is to create a new 3rd array and store every different number from both arrays. Make sure not to have duplicates. Flipping through arrays and using the include method might help you. So
Quanticus. If it wants ARR1 to be unchanged, you can start with ARR3 equals ARR1.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. We should. Okay, maybe I still did that wrong. I think the issue that we have at hand is that we're returning 2 arrays instead of 1. Why are we getting 2 arrays instead of 1? Because we're passing in 2 arrays.
Quanticus. It's cause you printing every loop iteration.
I do this crap every day. Every day without fail. Oh my god. Okay. Through here, yeah. Good boy. Oh. Okay. What if we
Quanticus. Variables defined in the loop
only exist
in the
loop?
loop.
Gotcha. True. Okay. Can't tell. My brain's not working as good today.
Quanticus.
We'd have to
So
define
you'd have to
AR3
define
for the
ARR3 before the for loop.
Let ARR3 equal ARR1. That's what we were saying, right? No. Two five three six one seven. All right, much better. At least I can laugh at myself. That's one thing. I think we're done. I think that's it, right? Because it doesn't need us to. 253617 is what we needed. 253617, yeah. Okay. Okay, so we didn't pass all tests. And this is where the issue comes in, where there's secret tests. So there's one that passed, there's two that's passed, and then there's one that didn't pass.
One thing, you're
still pushing into array
ARR1
1
instead of
ARR3.
ARR3.
Is that? You think that's why? You think that's why the second one failed? Screw it. We ball. Let's go. Nope. Second one still failed. Second one still failed. So at some point in time, it had to have had a duplicate. Something had to have been passed through, and it created a dupe. To check it for 0.
Quanticus. Oh, like if ARR1 itself started with dups?
Possibly, yeah. Okay, so it's not 0. So it would have to be array 1 started with dupe. So we're checking if array 2 has dupes. We need to also be checking if array 1 has dupes. So can we use or and say if array 1 does not include array 2's index or...
That means you have to start with an empty ARR1 and loop through both ARR1 and ARR2.
That means you have to start with an empty array 1 through both array 1.
Quanticus. It means start with empty ARR3.
It means start with empty. Okay, so let array 3 equal an array, yeah? And for let, that means you have to start with an empty ARR3 and loop through both ARR1 and ARR2. How do you loop through both? That's a serious question. How do you loop through both? If I is less than array 2 length and array 1?
Quanticus. You can do one loop at time.
Do one loop at a time. So create 2 for loops. I've never done multiple for loops before.
Quanticus. There's a lot of ways to go about it, but I think doing one for loop after another is the most straightforward.
For loop after. Oh man, putting me for a spin here, that's for sure. Alright. So if this is our for loop here, then we would need to for j if I less than array 1 length, add 1 j. Then if array 2 well no, because we're just checking if the array itself has
The
a
if check should also reflect that you're checking for duplicates in ARR3 now instead of ARR1.
Okay, we're checking in array 3 AR instead of. Alright, so if array three includes array 1 index, but in this case it's going to be j. Or does not include that. Okay. Push array 1. We're gonna bring this over this way. So we're gonna say that there's
Quanticus.
Insert.
There's a few bugs to work out in both loops, but I trust you to figure it out, lol.
Thanks. Okay, so mess that part up. A is okay. So I already see a dupe in there. I'm gonna say instead of push, we're popping. That was wrong. Incredibly wrong. Still have a dupe. Come back this way. 2253. What happened? What did I break? I broke something. Okay, there we go. Alright, now we're back in business. Alright.
Quanticus. Explain your code out loud from the top.
From the top. From the top. Alright, so we have a function called union. Takes an array 1 and 2. We declared a variable array 3 that takes... Wasn't this supposed to be an empty array? Wasn't that supposed to be an empty array? Oh, it did not like that. But there is not a duplicate in there.
Quanticus. You make it empty. Quanticus. Good.
So we do have one undefined. We did push an undefined somewhere. Alright. So for let I equal 0.
Quanticus.
Keep going
through the lines.
For let I equal 0, if I is less than array 2's length, then if we're going to run the code, which is if array 1 does not include array 2's index, we're going to push array 2's index to array 3 and add 1 to I and loop over again. I feel like that one is fine. I feel like where we're struggling is the second one.
Quanticus.
Does that if sound right to you? The first if? If array 1 does not include array 2's index.
Quanticus. You're looking for dups in ARR3, remember?
Yeah, if array 3 does not include array 2's index. Sorry if I butchered that. I love this. It's like I have a mentor in chat. I love it. You're looking for dupes in array 3. Yeah, so if array 3 does not include the index of array 2, and push array 2's index into array 3. You're looking for dupes in array 3.
Quanticus.
Sounds
solid.
On to the next loop. Okay. For let j equals 0, if j is less than array 3's length, run code if array 3 does not include array 1's index. If array 3 does not include array 1's index, push array 1 index to array 3. But that's not checking for dupes, is it?
Quanticus.
Array 3 length assumes you're looping through array 3,
which isn't what the loop is doing.
Array 3 length assumes you're looping through array 3, which isn't what the loop is doing. Okay, you might have to dumb that one down for me. More than you already have. Array 3's length assumes you're looping through array 3, which we're not actually doing. We're looping through array 1. Right? Is that what? I feel like that's what we were supposed to be doing. Array 1. And
Quanticus.
Right. Okay. So you dumbed it down enough. I just didn't give my brain enough credit. All right. So for let j equals 0, if j is less than array 1's length, run code if array 3 does not include array 1's index. Then and only then are we going to push array 1's index into array 3. One, 2, 3, 7, 0, 5, 6. Look at you. You are a god in disguise. A god in disguise. Yeah, I would definitely say that's working. I'm sorry to assume that maybe you're wearing disguise. Alright, hold on 1 second. Sorry. I'm so sorry. I assumed that when the dogs started barking that the kids were coming. And sometimes they just get too excited. So, like, I try my best to get up and, you know, calm them down. Alright. Okay, did we copy that new one? For let j equals 0, we're checking over array 1. Does not include array 1, then and only then push into array 3. Run. Okay, what did we do wrong now? Okay, we got 1, 2, 3, 7, 5, 6. What happened? Why did it change the order? This is a medium challenge? We were
Quanticus.
closer because you looped
Cause you
through
looped through
array
2
2.
before 1. Quanticus.
They are really picky. Oh, man. Okay. So we gotta just change digits, right? So array 1. If array 2. Array 1. Array 1. Array 2. Array 2. We're gonna copy this over. We're just gonna make sure that that's in the right order. I feel like I'm gonna run into the same issue I ran into yesterday, where I won't have enough daily submits. Okay. We swap these around. So it should be 2536017. 2536017. Yeah, because we added zeros. We were diagnosing the issue. Alright, 2536017. 2536017. Run. Hey. Hey. We got it. We got it, ladies and gentlemen. I definitely wouldn't have been able to do that without Quanticus's help. That's for sure. We're definitely gonna have to go back and really start working on for loops with array manipulation for sure. If anybody has any type of suggestions with that, I could definitely use a lot more experience in just looping over arrays and manipulating them in certain ways and whatnot. I could definitely use that. So far, I can definitely say that I feel a lot more comfortable building functions now and like understanding where to put things in a for loop except for the console log. I tend to keep running into the issue every single time where I print out for each iteration and I don't catch it, and I always end up asking out loud why without figuring out like the answer myself, of course. My chat is always ready to give me that answer because it's the same mistake every time. Which there's nothing wrong with that, by the way, whatsoever. It's definitely not a backseat type thing. It's helpful. Now we get to cover functions.
Quanticus.
Console logs inside the loop is useful to see how the loop is performing on each iteration. You'll do it pretty often.
You will do it pretty often.
Well, that makes me feel a little bit better. Makes me feel a little bit better, at least. And I'm definitely getting more comfortable on like where blocks of code are, like how they're being executed. Before, the way that Coddy explained it, I definitely did not understand that with a for loop, it was, you know, you start your for loop, you put in your variable, you know, your starting point, right? And then when it reaches the loop over, I didn't know that it runs the code underneath it next before it iterates. If that makes sense. Like, I didn't understand that. And Coddy has put it in a way in my brain where at least my brain understands how it's doing it. So that's always a plus. My VTuber acting funny a little bit. see. Yeah. What are functions? Time to cover one of my favorite topics, functions, which is one I really want to work on too. A function is simply a block of code that you can use over and over again rather than writing it out multiple times. Functions enable programmers to break down or decompose a problem into smaller chunks, each of which performs a particular task. Once you write a function, you can forget about the code inside the function. You can just run the block of code in the function using the function name. Once you define a function, you then can call it whenever you need it, simply using its name. Additionally, in order to work, the function will probably require some inputs or parameters, which are given to the function each time it is called. Believe it or not, you have already used a lot of function programming languages like JavaScript comes with built-in functions that you can use. For example, console.log hello world is an example of a method. A method is a function that is attached to a class. We will learn more about classes in the next course. The console log function used to display messages in the console is called by giving the name of the function, console log, followed by a pair of parentheses, which contain the parameters you want to pass to it. In this case, the string hello world is the only parameter. Functions can be thought of as little machines that perform a specific task, where the parameters are the inputs to the machine.
Yes, so console is the object and log is the function. Console.log, stuff, means logging stuff into the console.
True. It is definitely actually a really good way to put that. Console is the object and log is the function. Console.log stuff means logging stuff into the console. That's a really good way to put that, actually. They should have had you write this. I think some parts you would do better on. Some is a little iffy. There are also functions that don't take in parameters. Some functions can also be called with or without parameters. The syntax for calling a function looks like this. Function name 1, put in parameter 1, parameter 2, that's 2 parameters, or function name 2, and just call it with no parameters. In declaring a function, you can have as many parameters as you want. It is important to mention that functions can also return values. Instead of just calling a function, we can write something like this. Let variable equal function name parameter. This will set the value of variable to whatever the function name returns. An example of this is the toString function on numbers. It returns the number as a string. For example, const number equals 562, const string equals number toString, console.log string. Output is 562.
Note. For now you will be calling functions without the object mostly.
For now, you will be calling the function without object. Got it. Like what I would like to say like I do here, but technically I'm calling, yeah? This is an example of what a function might look like in JavaScript. Function squared, parameters num, return num times num, const squared number equals squared 10, console.log squared number. Output is 100. Okay, hold up. Function squared num and then inside of the function we're returning num times num. So const squared number equals squared, which the number is 10. So we're doing 10 times 10. Okay. Gotcha. Declaring functions. Let's learn how to how to create a function. We use the function keyword to declare functions in JavaScript. The syntax looks like this. We first write the function keyword next the name of the function. We can give it any name we want. Then in parentheses, we put the names of the parameters we want our function to take in. We can have as many parameters as we want. We put curly brackets and write the code inside of it. For example, function greet, console.log hello. We declared a function called greet. Every time we call the function, the code inside will get executed. We call the function by writing greet. It is important to remember that the code inside of the function does not get executed unless it is called. This won't print hello until we write greet. Parameters. We already mentioned parameters when declaring a function. We only want to write the names of the variables that will hold the values of the parameters. We can use the variables inside of the function like this. Function sum numbers num1, num2, num3, console.log num1 plus num2 plus num3. We input the actual values when calling the function. For example, sum numbers 5, 4, 9.
The function call line in that example code can be seen a. The function calls return, resolves to, a value, and then that value is assigned into the declared variable.
Gotcha. Thank you for that, Quanticus. Thank you. If we call a function with less parameters than the function takes in, like sum numbers 5 and 4, the other parameters will be undefined. So the values of for num1, num2, and num3 would be 5, 4, and undefined, respectively. If we want the parameters to have a default value, we can use equals to give them a default value. For example, function multiply num1 equals 5, num2 equals 7, and then console log num1 times num2. Sorry, I got the hiccups now. We can still use the function like multiply 10 by 10 and 52. It would output 520, but we can also use it like multiply 8, which would give us 56. Because num1 is 8 and the default value for num2 is 7, or we could write multiply, which would give us 35. Okay, so challenge time is create a function. Sorry, I hit the Windows key. Declare a function called greet world that prints the text hello world when called. Hello world. Declare another function called some array, which takes in an array as a parameter. The function should loop through the array and calculate the sum of numbers in the array. Remember how we used to do this. It should print the sum in the end. Okay. I equals 0. If I is less than array.length, add 1 to I. Takes in an array. Function should loop through the array and calculate the sum of the numbers in the array. Brain fart. Takes an array as a parameter. Function should loop through the array and calculate the sum of the numbers in the array. Calculate the sum of the array. So if our array had 1, 2, 3, how would we get it to add each index that it would loop on?
Quanticus. So you'll need a variable to hold the running sum.
So let's sum 0. Something like that.
Quanticus. Should you define it inside the loop?
No. No, we should not. Very true. For let I equals 0, if I is less than array's length, then sum equals sum plus the array's index.
Quanticus. You can put it inside the function but outside the loop.
Really? Is there like a specific... Oh yeah, true. I can put it right here, yeah. I guess that's typically how people do it, right? Because sum is belonging to that function itself, but not the loop. Man, my brain is farting all over the place. Alright, and then console log sum. And I'm gonna bring this over here because I want us to run sum array. It's already been declared.
You did the thing with the console log again, lol.
You know what? Kind sir, or man. Not perfect, okay? Not perfect. I have a nasty habit of that. I'm gonna start smacking my hand every time I do that. Alright. Don't print it inside of the loop. Alright, so we got 10. Yeah. Okay. Then... So, fun fact. Okay. So, I typically do like a lot of React work as my fun time. But in most cases, like, I'm not actually...
Quanticus. To model the problem correctly, you'd define the array before the function call.
Thank you.
Quanticus. And then use that ARR inside the function call.
True point. True point. Alright, there we go. I didn't like that. What did we do? What did we break?
Quanticus. The function call refers to line 14.
Line 14. Greet world? It tells me 9.
Quanticus. Remember it taught you about using function calls with an argument. Quanticus. ARR is your argument.
There you go. There you go. See, I can do these things until I need to do them for the thing, and then I completely space it. It's such bad testing anxiety. It's really bad. But like I was saying, like with React, I typically don't build functions. So if you would have came to me like 2 weeks ago, like as you could just see from right there, like I had a huge brain fart on what was actually going wrong with the code. I wasn't able to build a function that would run and do something. And, you know, let alone did I even remember how to, you know, execute the function in the end. So we're definitely already coming a long way. I could say that much. We've definitely come a long way. Let's... I think I'm grabbing all of this now. Because I don't think the tests are passing anything through. Do not call the functions, only declare them.
Quanticus. Not all of it. Don't define your own ARR.
Don't define our own array. Even though it's not... Is it going to pass one? Oh, I guess it did pass one. That would have been bad. Okay, man, immediately to another oh, it's challenge rehearsal time. Where's my moms? I'm missing both my moms. You're given an array called numbers. Print the last 5 elements of the array using a for loop. Okay, we got this time. So for let I equal 0, I less than numbers dot length minus 5. Add 1 to I. And execute this code. So we got this time. Don't help me, Quanticus. This one's my challenge. This one's mine to do. Given an array called numbers, print the last 5 elements of the array. So we're gonna need somewhere to put that last 5, say. So let's result equal zero. No. 0. We're gonna try this, and if it's wrong, I'm gonna figure out why. Okay? I'm gonna figure out why. I promise. Okay, so if Alright, hold on. That result, okay, for let I equal 0, where we're going to start, if I is less than numbers dot length minus 5, add 1 to I. I can do this. I can do it. I saw this earlier today because I had to submit it from yesterday. then okay, we're going to no. Iterate 5 times. Okay, hold on. Sorry.
Quanticus. I don't mind watching you struggle through it a bit, lol, I'm popcorning.
Sorry, I was getting a call, so I was like trying to figure out what the heck's going on. Couldn't find my phone. Phone was hiding from me. Alright. So let I equals 5 if I is less than numbers dot length minus 5. Add 1 to I. Because we want it to be 5. Then we need to do something with it. We need to do something with it. I feel like it's going to be so much more than just that. We're going to bring this on over here. Okay. And then let numbers equal 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then printer. Oh, silly. Not I. Not I. Okay, there's nothing stored in I right now. Okay, so we need to then result dot push I. Full dot log fault. No. Alright. I starts at 5. If I is less than numbers dot length minus 5, add 1 until it reaches 5. result equals Do we want this? Okay, hold up. We'll just start here. One at a time. One at a time. Save everybody's ears. It's okay. I needed hints the other time. We don't need hints this time. We can use our big brain. Okay, what is numbers doing right now? Wait. Yeah. Printer. Their function. Numbers. What? Nani? Really? Okay, so we got the array 5 times there. Four times. One time. We can do this. We can do this time. Okay. But the thing is, if I do it as 5 here, we don't get anything at all. But here we have 5 arrays being printed. One of these days, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna understand it. I am. How much you want to bet your popcorn's done? Add 1 to I. Alright, I'm gonna leave that parent break up there just in case. Just in case if I have to get back up. Okay. Instead of trying to brute force this, we need to come step back a little bit here. Okay, brute force it one more time. Okay. Alright. You are given an array called numbers. Print the last 5 elements of the array using a for loop. So, argument is numbers, so that's fine. For let I equal 0, if I is less than numbers dot length, so if 0 is less than numbers length minus 5, 1, 2, 3, 5, add 1 to I. I very much despise for loops still. I despise them so. I feel like I needs to start at 5. Does it not? I equal 5. If I is less than numbers.length minus 5. So it won't touch this then. But if I do it as 4, it will. Yeah? Okay. I think I'm starting to see why. We're looping this 5 times. Okay. So if numbers dot length minus 5 is less than I, oh my goodness. If numbers dot length minus 5 am I still overthinking? I feel like we're repeating here. Yeah, we're already checking if I is less than numbers dot length. But okay. What if we do like numbers dot length minus 5 here? And then console log numbers. I know that we have that in the loop again, but okay, we're still looping. Alright, we're gonna do this real quick, just so I can stop confusing myself, and I won't have to remove it again. Let's get it out of the loop. Okay, that way we only have that one time. Because that is a completely unrelated thing. Alright. Minus 5. Is this gonna break my code? No. Good. Alright, so numbers.length, if I console log it now, is it less? No, we're console logging it down there. Silly. Okay. we need to get that 5 off. So result equals numbers dot length minus 5. Didn't I say earlier that we were gonna stop brute forcing? Undefined. Result is undefined. Make it an array. Alright, and then we're gonna do results dot pop numbers we just got undefined. Alright, Quanticus. You can help me now. I gave it my best try. I gave it my best effort. The only difference in printing every element and printing the last element is the index in which you start. So you can get the number of elements in the array by using array length. You can also get the index at which you need to start with using basic math. The index should start at 5, less than the number of elements. Your for loop should look something like this. For let I equal... God damn it. I did this before. Let I equal numbers dot length minus 5. If... Okay. And then we put in the condition. I is less than numbers length. Add 1 to I. Console log I. Or is it numbers? I think we still have to store it. Unexpected identifier I. What did we do? Alright, start this over.
Is a compy. Best viwares on streambo.com. Remove the space.
Nope.
At jump item 2.
Nope. We still have the best viewers here. Because they're real. And amazing. Blocklisted. Alright. Let I equal numbers dot length.
How's it coming along?
Bruh. Okay, console log I had to use the hints. I won't lie. And we're here now. Results. Okay, no. Okay. Alright, back over here. Your for loop should look something like this. For let I equal the array's length minus 5. If I is less than array length, add 1. Alright, and then... Well, technically then, isn't it just numbers, if numbers dot length is less than numbers dot length minus 5, add that number, or run this code. So, well, push numbers. Result. That's undefined. Why does that not work?
Quanticus.
Numbers.length gives you one more than the last
index number. Since it's a number, you can do operations on it, meaning you should be able to use it to calculate the fifth from the last.
Okay. Numbers.length gives you one more than the last index number. Since it's a number, you can do operations on it, meaning you should be able to use it to calculate the fifth from the last. Right, isn't that the... So if I is less than numbers.length minus 5, isn't that doing the math? We're back to that part of for loops that my brain just really does not want to comprehend. I think I'm just tired today. I feel like we were on way better of a roll.
King of Dorks, sire. Just noticed you left up the BRB sign.
Yeah, I left it up on purpose because the kids just came back about 15, 20-ish minutes ago. So
You're
I just
right, but
wanted
I
to make sure that I could just get up.
your cod.
You're right, but I don't see the -5 in your code. Is it too tiny? Or do I not have it in the right spot? Or are you not looking at the right one? -5 is right there. I appreciate you though, Dorkshire. I do. Thank you for letting me know of a potential issue. But yeah, I had that up just because the kids were being a little crazy. So like every 5 seconds, I was like, be right back. So I'm like, you know, I'm just gonna leave it up until I know.
Oh, sorry, I was cleaning.
Oh, dude, you're good.
It's chore day.
You're good.
Quanticus.
I equals
numbers
numbers dot length means you're starting at the end of the array. Okay. Numbers dot length means that we're starting at the end. So if I, which is here, yeah, is less than numbers dot length minus 5. Gonna be here. Add 1 to I. So what am I missing here? I swear, if I go back, I'm probably gonna slap myself. I equals numbers dot length.
Quanticus.
So after the first iteration of I
plus plus makes it 2 more than the length of the array which is outside of it.
Oh. Oh. So well, no, that's going to make it count by 2 if I do that. I tell you what, to save us all from heartbreak.
Quanticus.
Technically
numbers dot length is already outside of the array.
How so? I was that close.
Quanticus. It gives you 1 more than the index number since the index starts at 0.
Oh, okay. So for let I equals numbers dot length minus 5.
So if you have 10 elements, length gives you 10 but the index only goes up to 9.
Before let I equal numbers dot length minus 5. And if I is less than numbers dot length, I think this might have been where my code might have been a little stuck-a-rooney. So it was numbers dot length is less than I. No, if I was less than numbers dot length. Console log.
Quanticus. Put the console log back inside the loop to see where you're actually starting.
Put the console log back inside of the loop to see where you're actually starting. Alright, hold on. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're missing 10. Oh, that would have been 6.
Log ARRI since you're almost there but not quite. Hopefully you can see where it's going wrong with the logs.
Yeah. We're breaking things. I'm working late. La 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 da. Da, 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 da. We don't even need this. Get out of here. Alright, for let I equals numbers dot length minus 5. If I is less than numbers dot length, add 1 to I. We need some Coddy code.
Quanticus. I doesn't exist outside of the loop.
Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright. So if you have 10 elements, length gives you 10, but the index only goes up to 9. Okay, let me go back up to the top here. So I equals numbers.length means you're starting at the end. So after the first iteration makes it 2 more than the length of the array, which is outside of it.
Quanticus.
Technically, numbers.length
That means
is already
you're starting at 6 from the back right now.
6 from the back right now. Why are we starting so far back? Don't actually give me the answer. Don't answer it for me. That was an out loud question.
Quanticus. No, I like your logging I instead of ARRI.
No,
Quanticus.
I lied.
I lied.
Did you lie? How dare you lie to me? How dare you, Quanticus? How dare you? What part did you lie about? Was it the part that we're logging 6 instead of 5? Because we're definitely logging 5. Da-da. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 though.
Quanticus.
That did make it go to
You're
10.
logging the index and not the array elements.
Bruh. You're logging the index and not the array elements, which is numbers. Correct? Numbers. Yes. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. Ta-da! Ta-da! It only took how many hints? Ta-da! God, you can just tell I don't feel good today. Like, between my brain not wanting to work and just the way I sound in general. Ta-da! I don't even think I have any more that I can run today. I think that was it. We'll double check, but all right, so we're gonna run through this returning values just real quick. See if we can do that. So instead of printing a value every time we write a function, we can make a function return the value instead of printing it. Let's say we want to have a function that calculates the square of a number but doesn't print it. It should return the value. Instead, to do that, we use the keyword return. So function square number, and then we return number times number. Squared number equals square 5. Console.log squared number. Squared number equals square the function, passing in 5 as number. Okay. Output is 25. We can return any type of data, even another function. It is important to remember that return stops the function. That means that any code after a return statement will not get executed. Function get data index const data equals all datas, and we're calling index return data console log 1 2 3. The console log 1 2 3 statement won't get executed. What the hell? We can return any type of data, even another function. It is important to remember that that return stops the function. That means that any code after a return statement will not get executed. Function get data index const data equals all datas index. Did we declare a function somewhere called index? Oh, I'm an idiot. Okay.
P simple right.
No, I'm an idiot. All right, function get data index const data equals all datas, which we're, pulling in index there, our argument. And we're returning data, but console.log is not going to run because after a return statement, any code after a return statement will not get executed. Okay. We're given two numbers, A and B. Return their sum. Do not print anything. Okay, so function get sum A and B. Const sum equals A plus B. Return sum. Yeah? I think that's right.
Quanticus.
That example is scuffed. All data isn't fine.
defined.
Yeah, like it's fucking throwing me for a spin over there. Oh, I had another one. Look at that. I don't think I have one now. I'm not lying. I don't think I do. By now, I'm usually out. I have a streak wheel. I have a streak wheel I can do. No, I don't. It lied to me. It lied to me. Saturday to spin the streak wheel. I didn't even get to do mine last Saturday. It made me sad. I wanted to see what you could get from it. Because you can get free VIP. Alright, declarations versus expressions. In JavaScript, there exists a concept known as function expressions. In a way, function expressions are variables which store a function. They can be used the same way as a function, but there are a few fundamental differences between function and expression.
They even put in a gotcha system to get you hooked.
Yeah. Yeah, they got me hooked. They got me hooked, alright. Not hooked enough to pay for it yet, but they got me hooked. There are a few fundamental differences. We use anonymous functions and store them in a variable to get a function expression. The syntax looks like this. Const variable name equals function, and then, start your normal function. We can still use it as a regular function. We can call it with variable name when declaring function expressions. We do not give the function a name. We just write function. This is called an anonymous function. It can also take in parameters, for example, const calculator equals function. We put in the arguments num1, num2, const sum equals num1 plus num2, const difference equals num1 minus num2, const product equals num1 times num2, const quotient equals num1 divided by num2, return. We're returning sum, difference, product, and quotient. And then const results array equals calculator. So we're calling our function with the numbers 10 and 5. Okay. That's pretty cool, actually. That's some multi-function stuff over there. So what are the main differences between these two methods or creating functions? Hoisting. Let's say that we have a program with lots of code and lots of functions declared. Once we run the program, the code for declaring the functions gets hoisted to the top. That means that the declaration of functions is one of the first things that gets executed once a program starts. When writing the program, we can call functions even if they are declared further on into the program. Hoisting only works when declaring functions and not with function expressions. That is the first difference. And then scope. We'll talk about scope in a later lecture. Turn these functions into function expressions. Make sure to use const. Okay, so const get sum equals this is definitely an interesting way. Const print text equals daily executions have been reached for the day. I think I did that right though. Pretty sure. Yeah. That should be right. Okay, but we got that. We have a challenge rehearsal first thing tomorrow. Given two arrays, array 1, array 2, your job is to find the union of these two arrays. Not again! Not again! It's perfect. I get to sleep on that. It gets to haunt me in my dreams. We got 24 points. I don't need to freeze my streak at all or anything. Double your 30 score wager by maintaining a 7-day streak. That'd be pretty dope. And then here's the Coddy Pro 14 days free. Sounds like the same challenge. Yes. Yeah, as we did earlier. Yeah, I get to let it haunt me in my dreams. Let's see where we are at on the leaderboard today. So we were in the demote zone when we started. We are one tile away from promotion. So it looks like we're going to get promoted again. We just got to make it one slot higher. Just one slot higher. And I mean, we're tied for 7th too. So we can do this. We can do this. I'm coming for that spot, Nani. I'm coming for it. With your 7+ day streak at 360 experience. We're only Tuesday. Alright. Well, everyone, I hope that you had fun watching me struggle a little bit more today, and more struggles coming here in the future. I'll probably have to do some practicing outside of stream a little bit too. Not using Coddy though, but you know, using some other stuff just to kind of try and help with these little brain farts I keep having. I don't want to keep making it so everybody else is answering for me. Where's the fairness in that? But I appreciate you all coming by, as per always. I've been on every day consecutively for 5, 6 days. Was it 6? Is this our 6th one? I don't know. I'm not looking at my VOD. Yeah, 6 days. 6 days in a row. So we don't have a schedule quite yet. So it's kind of just like when I have free time during the day to pop in and, you know, sit down for a few hours and do some code with you all. But I hope to continue to see all of you hopping in. You know, just like I've explained numerous times, and I'll continue to explain. You know, it's not going to be just a coding stream over here. It will be split into 2 segments here soon, one for coding and one for gaming. We have streamed for multiple years via gaming, but I did have to stop for like a year and a couple of months, just because all of my equipment went down and I had to replace everything. So we are back on. Just have to find a good schedule for coding and gaming both. So just right now we're only doing coding, but here soon you'll see me be popping on later in the day too for gaming, which is always open to everyone. So if there's ever a game that I'm playing that's multiplayer, and I'm playing on multiplayer with it, you can always feel free to ask to join. And that's literally all it takes. You don't gotta donate nothing, don't gotta do no bits or, you know, subscriptions. But it's always
BNZY Vorb King of 457.
King of Bulborbs. Is that what it said? It said King of Bulborb? I don't even know what it said. It said something. I wish I could get it to stop reading emotes. It's the only thing. Sometimes it just gets it gets crazy on the emotes. I want people to be able to spam emotes, obviously, because, you know, that's hype. But yeah, like, it's like, starts reading the emotes in a really weird way. But, yep. So, you'll be seeing us on the game side soon. But until then, you'll just keep seeing us just randomly throughout the day with coding. If you ever miss a stream, you know, feel free to check us out on YouTube. All of the videos are always on YouTube. But that being said, see you all tomorrow. Bye!
King of Dorksire. BNZY Wave, BNZY Wave, BNZY Wave, Rian Re 1 Oldga, Rian Re 1 Oldga, Rian Re 1 Oldga, Rian Re 1 Oldga.
Ryan definitely do be old. You do be old, but so do I.